Evening. We would like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the schedule of meetings adopted at the organizational meeting held on January 3rd, 2024. Adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Kenilworth Board of Education has been provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the local source on January 11th, 2024. A copy has been filed with the Kenilworth Borough Clerk, posted in the Board Office, the Kenilworth Borough Hall, Brearley, and Harding Schools, as is provided by the Open Public Meetings Act.
Thank you, Mr. Ganella. Can everyone please rise and join us in the salute to the flag? Mr. Ganella, can we please have roll call?
Biner. Here. David. Drogan.
Here.
Ferrara.
Here.
Abather. Here. Ladati.
Here.
Panici.
Here.
Tiers. Zimmerman.
Here.
We have quorum.
Okay, thank you. We will now have receiving of the minutes and committee notes of the secretary. These include the regular BOE minutes of the secretary from May 13th, 15th, 16th, and 29th, 2024, and the committee meeting notes from June 4th from the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting. May I please have a motion to accept the receiving of the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Ferrera, second by Mr. Biner. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion's carried. Mr. Ganella, do we have any public correspondence?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you so much. At this time, before we move on to the superintendent's reports and presentations, I would like to make a statement similar to what I said in the acknowledgement ceremony we had, and it is to Mr. Arlington, and it is a farewell acknowledgement. First and foremost, we'd like to thank everybody for attending the meeting tonight, and we want to share some heartfelt words about Superintendent Arlington. Kyle has been a beacon of change for our district since he arrived, keeping us grounded and moving forward through the toughest times schools have faced. Amid increasing concerns with funding, maintaining school operations, and keeping programs thriving despite budget cuts and dwindling revenue streams, Kyle remains steadfast. During the COVID-19 pandemic, his unwavering communication, meticulous diligence, and keen attention to detail provided steadfast reassurance to countless parents, affirming their trust in the district's ability to safeguard their children's well-being. Superintendent Arlington's visionary approach to meeting the educational needs of future generations was predominantly displayed throughout the referendum process. His extensive and effective communication with numerous stakeholders over several months played a pivotal role in ensuring its success. Thanks to Kyle's leadership, students for generations to come will benefit from upgraded and improved facilities in a new and optimized configuration. Kyle's focus on student achievement and improving education for Kenilworth Public Schools has been unwavering. His approach, care, and concern for all students and their future have been admirable. Every plan and decision was carefully crafted with precision. Kyle, you've modeled first-class leadership for our teachers and our leadership teams. We know you will continue to shine and have a lifelong impact on all students and families you'll serve in the future. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your dedicated time and service to our students, schools, and our community. We will miss you dearly. Personally, every time I drive past a new school building, I will think of you. We thank you so much, and we wish you the best on this next chapter. So, thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, we will have the superintendent's reports and presentations.
Thank you for those kind words. As I said outside, it's been a challenging but rewarding experience leading the Kenilworth schools. And I'm really grateful that it has been part of my professional journey. So thank you for the support. Yeah. Prior to our board meeting, we were able to celebrate some of the adults in our school community in a pre-board meeting reception. And during this board meeting, we'll be highlighting and celebrating some very special young people, the first of whom is Nan Shah. Principal Davies is going to do a much better job than I could possibly do in speaking about your strengths and talents as valedictorian, but on behalf of the board, know that we're really proud and thankful for your efforts as a representative to the board, I think you came to every single meeting with a detailed report, and we're always prepared to answer the questions that the board had. So thank you for that level of preparation and for serving as a really strong role model for the school community. Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Davies?
So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to recognize some of our wonderful students at David Brearley Middle High School. As Mr. Arlington said, our first honoree is Nan Shah. And Nan Shah has served in so many capacities here at David Brearley. It is sad to see him depart from us. Not only has he been the student rep to the board, he has served as the student council president for our entire school. He has been with the student council for several years. Valedictorian is the highest one could achieve. And when we had a recent luncheon, some of the students that were part of that luncheon in his class said of Nan that he walks on water. And they said that because he is someone who elevates who we are as students, as learners in our school community. And all of his peers, every single student here in the school looks to Nan Shah as the pinnacle of student achievement, of academia, of involvement, of everything that you could be as a young person in a high school setting. They look to you, Nan, as that individual that just has focused so high and has achieved such great things. A couple of just notes about Nan Shah real quick. He started the robotics club here at David Brearley. He's the founder of that club. He's the president of that club, and he has pushed that club to excel significantly. And we are now a competing robotics team because of the work Nan has done behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. He has served as the Principal's Advisory Council. He is co-editor of the Bear Print, our newspaper. He has the top GPA of his class. He's received numerous high honors, ABC awards. He's part of the NHS, the National Honor Society, the Spanish Honor Society. The list can go on. As the students indicated, he can walk on water too, apparently. One thing, though, I want to say about both Nan and Dennis is that as a principal, it's really important to have those kinds of individuals that elevate others. We want to establish and create an environment at all times where students achieve and they look to each other. And Nan creates that healthy sense of competition among his peers to be the best. And his peers look to him, and he has made our school a better place. So I want to say congratulations, Nan, on achieving the valedictorian status. Also, congratulations and thank you for being the student rep to the board. Nan is going to be studying mechanical engineering at Mercer University, and he is off to great things, and we wish him well. Congratulations, Nan Shah.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to say thank you for everyone for listening so attentively to my reports. I know that there was a few jokes hidden there, and every single time I knew I can count on everyone laughing. I'm so happy that I was able to come here as a choice student and feel so accepted into this community. It's been a crazy few years, and I don't think I would have replaced them for anything else. I've had a lot of opportunities to grow here, and I want to thank each and every one of you for making that possible. As I said to Mr. Davies, I thank you for opening all those doors for me. I couldn't have done anything without you guys. So, thank you very much.
Nan gets 2 certificates tonight for student rep and then for valedictorian. So congratulations.
You also now get 2 tokens of appreciation behind you. Yeah. And the purple one in the back term. Yes, thank you.
Also here tonight is Dennis Shestak. I met with Dennis and Nan this morning. They've been working on their graduation speeches, and they're going to be darn good, I have to say. And again, much like I was speaking about Nan, Dennis is a true pleasure to have as a student. It is sad to see Dennis graduate. It's also exciting to see Dennis graduate because of the wonderful things that he's off to as well. Dennis is going to be studying engineering as well at NJIT next year. And just a couple things from his list of accomplishments. He is also part of the robotics club. He's the lead electrical engineer of the robotics club. He also has earned significant amounts of ABC awards, high honor roll. He too inspires his peers through his hard work, his intelligence, his determination. Dennis also works at the AccuReference Medical Lab in Linden. He's a member of the band, part of the senior quartet. He's off to great things as well. And again, Dennis is also just a quality human, and kudos to his parents who have raised him, same with Nand. It's wonderful to know that they're bright individuals, that they're determined and hardworking, but it's also great to know that David Brearley is graduating good humans, good citizens of our country that are going to contribute positively to the world. Dennis is one of those individuals. Dennis has achieved the distinction of the salutatorian of our class of 2024. Congratulations to Dennis. Want to say something, Dennis?
Thanks, guys.
That one, yes. Unfortunately, I don't believe our Union County unsung hero was able to attend tonight.
Correct, yes. Anthony Lamanna, though, to just give a recognition
Please.
to Anthony Lamanna, he was awarded the Union County Unsung Hero Award. Anthony Lamanna wasn't able to be here tonight, which is strange because Anthony Lamanna is always at school, and he's just a young man that brightens up everyone's day. He's always here. He's a wonderful young man. He is off to great things as a young person, too, graduating this year. So congratulations to Anthony Lamanna.
Thanks, Jeremy. Mr. Miller and Mr. Davies are going to next introduce and tell you more about some of this year's scholar athletes.
Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, 2 of our 3 scholar athletes couldn't make it this evening. But before I get into presenting our scholar athletes, I just want to publicly congratulate our girls softball team. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it tonight. They have their dinner, it involved catering and all that, so they couldn't reschedule. So Coach Evchek, Coach Spompanato, and the girls had an outstanding season. They were conference champions, and then they also won the sectional championship. So publicly, I want to just congratulate them on a great year, and I'm sure they're having fun over at the VFW tonight. Which leads me to our scholar athletes. Every year when I get up to do this, it's, and I always say it's kind of bittersweet. When you get to present some of our student athletes that have come through here and the things that they've accomplished, not only as athletes, but as students in our building and just good kids in our community. It's great to celebrate that, but then you realize that they are no longer going to be on our soccer team or our softball team or whatever it may be, and they're hard shoes to fill, when you have some of these kids come through the program. But athletics, I'm a product of being an athlete, and the qualities that are involved in athletics carry over through your academic career, which you'll see a couple students tonight, but also just in your life in general. When we talk about work ethic, talk about commitment, teamwork, time management, there's so many things that go into it. And to see some of our kids excel the way they do, it's really makes me proud that they're a part of our programs. So I'll just talk briefly about the 2 individuals that are not here tonight. Sophia Palmadessa is not only our Union County female scholar athlete, but she is also our Brian Piccolo Award winner that the Kenilworth Unico sponsors. And then Mike Kalorick, who is our male Union County scholar athlete. 2 great kids, great in the classroom and also on the playing field. The one young lady who made it tonight, which I'm glad, this young lady she exhibits, all the qualities that you want, not only in a student, but an athlete. And also, I could just tell when I see her around the building, I see her around her friends that aren't athletes. She's just a good all-around person. She is our New Jersey Interscholastic Athletic Association scholar athlete. She went down to a nice banquet down at the Pines Manor. She will be continuing her academic and athletic career at FDU. Very sad to see her go because she's such a great girl, but I'm happy to acknowledge her, Bianca Sode.
Sure. Thank you. I guess thank you for like this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you, guys. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you on the field next Tuesday. Thank you.
So this time, we're going to move on to board business. Everyone is welcome to stay, but if you're interested in leaving, now would be a great time for you to make your exit. Congratulations, and thank you for coming. Bye. Take care. Congratulations.
Art show in the back gym, bring pieces if you didn't get a chance to see it.
Well, we haven't decided. Probably not. We never had an opportunity to discuss it. So. When we do,
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to move on to any superintendent updates, HIB report, et cetera, with Mr. Arlington.
Yeah. As part of my report, Mr. Ganella is going to give an update on the budget, but first start with some details around where we are with our referendum projects.
all right, good evening, everyone. This is my monthly update on the referendum project, and fortunately, for one of the phases is almost complete. So as you know, we broke it up into 3 projects. The HVAC project, Harding continues progressing very well with the unit ventilators. The controls and work balancing of the HVAC system is in progress, and we do expect to have substantial completion by July, which is a little ahead of schedule. So that's good news. The field project, 95% of the paving is complete. We were doing some work out there today. Turf installation is complete. The sand and the rubber infill was applied last week and into Saturday. The track, as scheduled, will be delivered after graduation, so not to allow us to use the field for graduation. And then the fence and the installation is 90% complete as well. The additions project, so we're about 85% complete with the addition of the foundation. The insulation is being done, the underground electrical and the plumbing and the storm drains are all being coordinated and installed at this point. And then excavation of the underground utilities is also working. And then that also is on schedule for completion sometime during the spring of 2025. So here's some pictures of our HVAC upgrades. Your typical unit ventilators going into the classrooms. The work would do quite nice work. I believe they are cleaning up after themselves. I haven't heard too many complaints. I do appreciate the teachers who are giving up their classrooms for a couple of days while that is taking place over at Harding. Here's some of the additions work. You can see the block is being installed. You can see there the white lines down the 2 center one. Those are the drain pipes coming in. So as you'll see every week you'll see a little more and more with that project getting completed. Here's some of the field upgrades you can see. Fascinating process, if any were able to see it and watch it, right from the installation of the drainage system to the multiple levels of stone that were put out there. I mean, massive amounts of stone. And then finally, all the leveling and the compaction to make sure that this project goes correctly. The installer of the turf has to sign off on the field prior to it being installed. So they have a standard that that they have to meet. So if the contractor doesn't get it to the exact specifications that they want, they will not put that field turf down. So that's a little bit of reassurance that hopefully the project was done properly. And that's the end result. That's a drone footage that our IT department took last week after all the lines were down. The rubber isn't installed. You'll see those up in the top left-hand corner. You'll see the bags of rubber pellets ready to be installed, which were done basically last Friday and Saturday, correct? Yeah, so they're down now. The field is complete, and we're ready for the graduates to take the field on the 18th, so we're very excited. Moving into the budget restoration, the legislature passed two bills to assist school districts that lost state aid in FY25. As you recall, we lost $1.6 million in equalization aid. One bill provided a restoration of aid amounting to 45% of the lost equalization aid. The other allowed the districts, under certain circumstances, to increase the tax levy beyond the 2% limit. Kenilworth was eligible for both options, an increase in the tax levy and the restoration of the equalization aid. Application processes for both of these processes were a little bit different, so I'd like to summarize these as I outlined it to the Finance and Facility Committee last Tuesday during our discussions. So the tax levy increase process, districts needed to submit a budget to the Executive County Superintendent for approval. Once approved, the budget would be advertised in the newspaper. The board would then hold a public hearing on the additional additional budget and approve the new budget. After that approval, taxes would need to be recertified with the municipality and the county board of elections. The additional aid acceptance, districts needed to submit a budget for approval to the executive county superintendent. Then the board would approve the revisions. So as I said, Kenilworth was eligible for the tax increase only of $14,529. You can see that on line F there, other adjustments. So that would mean that our tax levy could go from the $22,741,697 up to the $22,756,226. It's the recommendation of the Finance Committee not to take that opportunity to increase the tax levy by the $14,529. The laborious process that is involved, the time commitment by the board, it just is not, and then the confusion of the increasing the tax levies mid-year. There is a question whether the community would actually receive a second tax bill for that supplement. So the committee is recommending that we not pursue that. There's very little upside to doing that. The committee did, however, is recommending that we do take the $633,961, which is the 45% of the loss of equalization aid, and restore some of the programs and services and supplies and materials that we eliminated from the original budget. If you recall, through the month of April, we looked at a budget reduction plan to come up with that. That involved multiple categories. This is the worksheet that we will be providing to the Executive County Superintendent that outlines what our advertised budget is, the change that we would make as a result of the additional aid. That's that middle column there. middle number dollar sign column there. And then finally, what the amount would be, the final budget. And you can see there, the first line, the 3,200 line, we're looking at restoring teaching positions and Chromebooks. The second line is restoring teaching positions in the basic skills, interventionist positions. The third line is restoring certain stipends. The fourth line there is restoring stipends and increasing a secretary from a 10-month to a 12-month position. And then finally, the final line there is employee benefits associated with the restoration of those positions that we outlined above. If you recall, this was what we had originally cut from the budget to get to the 2% tax. That first time, the amount cut totaled $1,566,000. And this is where we are basically restoring it. We're not restoring anything in professional development. We're restoring $64,000 in supplies and materials, which is essentially the Chromebooks. We're restoring $342,000 in staffing, the associated benefits that go along with it, as well as some stipends positions. Essentially, from a programmatic standpoint, the G&T program will be restored to 2024 levels, or current levels. Grade 4 will be restored to 2024 levels. All music programs at both Harding and Brearley will be restored to 2024 levels. Physical education at both Harding and Brearley will be restored to 2024 levels. Basic skills, interventionist levels will be also increased, and then those stipend positions in the Chromebooks, as I said. So the next steps here would be next week, once we get approval from the Executive County Superintendent on that form, we would submit the budget for approval and vote on it next week. So there's no impact on the tax levy as a result of that. This was a pure grant. If you recall, last year we did receive something similar, but it was much smaller. It was like $60-something thousand. That's where we brought back, we put in a SLEO over here, a full-time SLEO over here. So very similar process. It's just a lot more money this year. Wish it was more. Originally, it was supposed to be 66% of the equalization aid loss, but it wound up being 45%. That's the way the meat grinder does work down in Trenton with the give and take for various things. So are there any questions regarding that?
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Not at
right
this
now.
time.
Not right now.
Do board members have questions about the presentation?
No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Canella. Mr. Arlington?
Thank you, Mr. Cannell. I'm going to end my report with a review of HIB. Later in the meeting, you'll be voting on the cases from I'm showing you May's report. I always have trouble with that. You'll be voting on the cases from April later on. But tonight, there are 3 cases from May. I'll give you time to look at them. Some of them are a little bit complex, and so if I can answer questions in a way that keeps students anonymized, I will. If not, we'll find a workaround.
Need another minute? Everyone okay, Mrs. Zimmerman? Another minute? Everyone okay? Okay? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Arlington.
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we will have report of committees, review of resolutions, and board discussion. Up first is Finance, Facilities, and Negotiations, Mr. Ladati.
Okay, sorry if I'm a little repetitive, but Vince stole a lot of what I had here, so just hang on. So the committee met on June 4th. The committee notes were distributed to the board today and posted to the shared folder. The purpose of our meeting on June 4th was to review the additional state aid as outlined by Mr. Ganello's presentation. The committee unanimously agreed to use the aid to restore some of the program's staff materials that were cut from the budget approved on April 29th as a loss of that equalization aid. And Mr. Ganello went into more of the detail than I just gave you. The board will need to take action at the June 18th meeting to accept the additional aid. The committee also reviewed the status of the construction projects along with the recommendation that the athletic fields be restricted to the use of students in school during the school hours for security and safety issues. Mr. Ganello, in his report to Mr. Arlington, included analysis of the contracts in accordance with PL 215, Chapter 14. Pursuant to that law, Kenilworth Board of Education intends to renew, award, or permit to expire contracts previously awarded by the Board of Education. These contracts have been and will continue to be in full compliance with all state and federal statutes and regulations. That's basically resolution number 8. So let me get to resolutions. 1 through 4 are the standard every month. You just heard Mr. Arlington's report. I reviewed the financials and the billings. They all are in order. For line item transfer, there was none that met our $5,000 cap. Number 5 are field trips. You'll see that one trip is to Colorado. We're not paying for that. We're only paying for the cost of the trip for the class, which is $385. I knew you were gonna ask a question maybe.
Actually, I wasn't, but better
So
one.
6 are field trips, 7 are contractor payments. I looked at those also. They all seem to be in order. 8 to 13 are basically what I just talked about, those contracts that Mr. Ganello went over with Mr. Arlington. Basically, our contracts from all the vendors we use. They need to be in place before the year starts. They're contracts, MOAs with all of our vendors that we might use. There's also the busing transportation involved in there, union tech contracts, and environmental safety agreement. All those contracts are basically in your packet if you had a chance to review them. It's some good reading if you didn't do those contracts. 14 to 17 are the non-public school programs. As you know, we act as the conduit for the state to supply funds for St. Teresa's, basically. 18 and 19 are agreements with Union County Ed Services. And that's all I have on resolutions. So, any questions on that? Questions? And then we'll go into the other parts of this, Gad.
I do. No one likes the conference more than me. I'm not questioning that. So, I do want to know about the Kenilworth Diner. What kind of a trip is that?
Some of these are field trips that are listed for students who require life skills as part of their IEPs.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is.
And so what happens there? They just go in and have a cup of coffee or breakfast? Or?
Well, each student has different life skill needs depending on their levels of functioning. So for some students, maybe ordering for a menu and like proper restaurant decorum might be part of their life skills.
Yeah,
I can
absolutely.
get more information on that, but
It's absolutely needed. You
I
see
think
it some
that's- sorry.
places in Westfield that have, I'm sorry, but you see it all the time.
No,
with
I'm
different
fine.
kids
This
in
question,
there, yeah.
that's the first time I saw it. Also, back to these trips. We used to go to like Washington DC or to Turtleback Zoo. So, is there other trips besides Black
So,
Park
yeah,
and
so
Cranford Pool?
Well, those were previously, you did go on trips.
Okay.
Those were previously, these are the ones that have been.
Okay.
Current.
current ones.
Thank you. And then, okay, the other cost, the 10%, that's all with the school, the public school for.
Yes,
ca-
it's
capital.
none of our money. But that's the filter that the state needs to get the money to them.
Also nursing, we pay for the nursing now, for the
No,
non-public school?
we don't pay for anything.
We're the conduit.
We just act as the money transfer.
Okay, but they, okay,
It's none of our dollars for this district involved with that. The state has to find a way to get the money to them, and they can't give it to them
they
directly.
give it to you and then.
So
well,
we
say-
give it to them.
I got you. And is that a full-time nurse there, or you don't?
I don't know anything about the program there, I
Okay.
really don't.
That's what I have. Thank you.
Again, we have nothing to do with it, really. We're just a transfer, basically paper. We
Okay.
send the paper over.
It depends on the funding level too, so
The middleman.
it changes
Yeah.
from year to year, the funding changes based on the number of students. So they maximize it, if they have enough to get a full-time, they do.
Thank you.
Okay?
Anyone else
Okay.
have any other questions for
Okay.
Mr.
So
Liddell?
so I just have like two other things.
Sure.
So, some policy, from the steering committee I'll read. I'm just gonna do like the Reader's Digest version. P1140 is affirmative action. PR 1530 is employment, complaint procedures. And P1550 is discrimination. Basically, all three are mandated, and all three either expand the definition, revise the definition, or update the codes. So, that's kind of the Reader's Digest version, so they go into lengthy detail on those. And finally, as negotiations, we have negotiations scheduled for this upcoming Thursday. And that's the status on negotiations. So, that's all I have.
Anyone, any additional questions for Mr. Ladati at this time?
Nope.
Thank you, Mr. Ladati. We'll now move on to personnel management, Mr. Habermill.
There are 8 resolutions tonight, one of which will be discussed in closed session, but the 7 that I can talk about. Resolution 20 is acceptance of a retirement. Resolution 21 is an elementary special ed LLD teacher. Resolution 22 is a revised leave of absence. Resolution 23 is the approval of SAT boot camp. Resolution 24 are summer buildings and grounds support staff. Resolution 25 are co-curricular stipends. And Resolution 26 is the approval of substitute staff. That is it.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Habermill? Curriculum instruction, Mr. Arlington?
Yeah, happy to read the curriculum and instruction news since Chairperson Tears couldn't be here tonight. But first, I neglected to say in my report or articulated congratulations to Denise Radice, whose resignation or retirement is listed. We wish her the best and thank her for her 11 years of service to the Kenilworth students. There are 2 curriculum and instruction resolutions tonight. Resolution 27 recommends approval of a bunch of curriculum guides that will be written in the summer or next school year. And Resolution 28 is HIB from the month of April. There are also several policies under CNI. To take a page from Mr. Ladati's book, most of them are about the removal of policies listing protected classes and instead pointing your attention to where those protected classes are listed in statute. So that's the case for the curriculum content, which is a policy and is mandated, equity in school and classroom practices and complaint procedures. And there's a typo on page 2 that should say religion in schools. That's also revised. So too is Regulation 2411 around guidance counseling. In that policy, we outline who is entitled to provide counseling services to students. The bilingual education policy and regulation is updated as well. The biggest changes include changes to definitions, identification, organization, and additional requirements of a school district. It also went from, I think, English as a second language to bilingual. And then there is a sportsmanship policy, which is recommended. And keep in mind the sportsmanship policy is sort of in conversation with our civility policy that we wrote and approved last year for the first time. And then, of course, the NJSIAA also has its own sort of code of conduct. So those three things are triangulated and updated in the sportsmanship policy to reflect those changes.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Arlington about curriculum instruction or any of the policy?
Just a quick question, so, because the curriculum writing, because we really don't talk about that, so that's just an update for the following school year, pretty much?
No.
Or is,
It depends on the scope of the work, which is why there are varied hours. So some may have just updated standards that need to be plugged in or aligned, so that requires fewer hours. There may be a major revision, a minor revision, or a new course that's completely new and needs to be written. So that reflects the number of hours determined by Dr. Heimpold for that work. Sometimes it's because it's up per the 5-year curriculum cycle. Sometimes it's up because there are new standards. Sometimes it's up because teachers bring to Sam's attention this needs revision in these ways. So it could be for a multitude of factors.
all right, thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, 2260, the,
226,
it says board shall ensure district physical education is a co-educational setting. What does that mean? I mean,
you can't have phys ed classes for females and some phys ed classes for males. So schools can't schedule, maybe like they used to a long time ago, gender-specific classes.
okay, thank you.
Good,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, any old business? I have two things under old business. Please continue to check our website for updates regarding the referendum and school-related business. We also have revisited a few times our TAB committee. Unfortunately, we were not able to schedule for the end of this year, but it's something that we are going to continue to work with our teams to move forward for next year to find a date that works for everybody that's involved. Anyone else for old business? New business?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank all the staff that was available over the weekend for Fusion Dance Center's 20th dance recital. It was a fantastic event. My daughters were in it, but nonetheless, the school was open, it was clean, and everything functioned well. So thank you to everybody who was available.
Thank you.
Next year's will be in a brand-new state-of-the-art
Can't wait.
auditorium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to acknowledge, as we already heard me shout about before, the art show that's going on in the back gym till 8:30 tonight, if anybody gets out of here and there's time left. It was nice to see that back again, the student art on display, some really truly amazing pieces back there, some amazing artists here in the building, and certainly worth seeing if anybody hasn't seen it yet.
Thank you. We'd like to congratulate all of our scholars, our athletes, and their families there were so many victories that we celebrated this year throughout the year. We would also like to thank and congratulate all of our seniors and their families. We know this is a huge milestone in their lives and very important to them. We would like to take a moment too to thank our teachers, all of our team members, and our leadership teams for all the support and dedication throughout the year that make the schools possible. And we'd like to wish everyone a well-rested summer and healthy, and excited to see you back in the fall. At this time, if there's no new business, we'll move on to opening the meeting to the public for comment.
Motion to open to the public?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mrs. Zimmerman, seconded by Mrs. Strogan. All those in favor of opening the meeting, the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Mr. Goodall?
Yes. Public comment will now be accepted. The Board of Education sets a limit for the public to speak at the board meeting for 5 minutes per person unless prior permission has been granted by Board of Education to extend the time pursuant to bylaw 0167. For the record, prior to you making your comments, please include your name and address.
Okay, is there any public at this time that would like to make a comment? Please step up.
Hi, I'm Shari Brennan, and I live at 19 North 21st Street. I have twin fourth graders, soon to be fifth grade. And I just wanted to bring attention to bullying at Harding. It is a huge part of my family's life. It has caused us so much stress and disturbance this entire year. And this is the third time I've come here. I've written multiple emails to people in this room, to people outside of this room, but just to get it on record so everybody can know about it. My son is the one who receives most of the bullying. As of the beginning of the year of fourth grade, I thought, brand new grade, maybe this will get better. October 9th, first time my son was hit by a child. November 7th, my child was shoved by another child. November 17th, my child was in recess and was hit on the back while he was on the jungle gym. December 5th, a kid came into the restroom and was horseplaying and knocking my child around. In between this, a few of these incidents were the same child, and it was the same child who had hit him in previous years. So I was introduced to Mrs. Cucolo by Mr. Arlington to try and make this stop with a stay-away agreement with 2 children. The stay-away agreement, if you're not familiar with it, is that, let's see, all comments and discussions about the other student are not allowed, no gestures, no physical contact. Both of those students did not sign this, and both of those students continued to hit my child throughout the year. My child was accused of things that he did not do by people in this room. There was nobody who saw them, so they are going by other students, by inference, by a reputation my child might have. He was wrongly accused. The video cameras that should have picked up on these were either not there, they were fuzzy, they were not working, never got any resolution from that. My child was hit on March 1st. My children were both removed from the aftercare at this school in the cafeteria because they could not stand the fear of getting hit there. So as of December, they were out, and they've attended aftercare at the rec center and have not been hit one single time, which is great. One of the teachers here refused to let my child go to the bathroom repeatedly, which humiliated him. There was a student who attacked my child in the bathroom and kicked him in the groin to the point that he missed 2 days of school. I brought him to our urologist who could see trauma on the spot. So don't not believe that that happened. My child was hit by one child in gym. Mr. Bobnowski took my child out of the classroom he was in later, brought that other child both into the hallway, made my child apologize to that child and shake his hand. How intimidating is that? Bullying is not only being hit, but it is being intimidated. This school is the scariest place that I drop my children off to. I imagine it could be worse in other places in New Jersey, but this school is pretty bad. I'm happy that we have 1 year left. If I had choices, I would go somewhere else. You need to create a culture of no tolerance for this. I don't know who is in charge of discipline. I think it's the principal and the vice principal, but they do not follow through on the consequences that are in your books. I'm not confident in the ability of these two to be able to create a learning environment because you know it comes from the top and comes down. I don't blame the teachers as much as I blame the top. They make the environment. My children were supported to a certain extent, but not enough to relieve it all. My son, was injured outside of this school, and he's missed about 6 weeks of school, and it has been wonderful because he has not been stressed. I haven't been stressed. My daughter hasn't been stressed. When you stress one of us, you stress all of us. We're a loving, small family, and what you do to him, it happens to us. I was in a school on the day of the Apex field run, and I was in the main office picking up my child.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but 5 minutes has run out. So
That's unfortunate. because I could go on.
We have board policy, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we have board policy that needs to be enforced, and it can be addressed at a later time. Thank you. Is there any other public that would like to speak at this time? Or would like to make any comments? Okay, can I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Motion to close?
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mrs. Drogan, seconded by Mr. Haberther. All those in favor of closing the meeting to the public, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. The meeting is now closed to the public. Mr. Gallo, are we prepared to vote on resolutions?
Yes, we have 29 resolutions on the public agenda at this point. This is resolutions numbers 1 through 29. Do any of those need to be voted on separately? No? Okay. Biner,
Yes.
Drogan,
Yes.
Ferrara,
Yes.
Haberther,
Yes.
Wadati,
Yes.
Zimmerman, Panici.
Yes.
Motion's carry unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ganala, do we have a need to go into closed executive session?
Yes, we do.
Can I please have a motion to go into closed executive session? Second?
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Haberther, seconded by Mr. Ferrera. All those in favor of going into closed executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Mr. Ganala?
Be resolved, the Board of Education, the Board of Education meet in private session, which the public shall be excluded to discuss the topics of personnel, superintendent's annual evaluation, KEA grievances, and employee resignation settlement. We will also be going to discuss negotiation with the superintendent contract and all units of the KEA,
Thank you.
which private session is being held pursuant to Section 7B in the Open Public Meetings Act. Matters under discussion will be disclosed to the public as soon as final decisions are made and voted upon. Okay, Biner,
Yes.
Drogan,
Yes.
Ferrara,
Yes.
Haberther,
Yes.
Wadati,
Yes.
Zimmerman,
Yeah.
Panici.
Yes.
We are now in closed session.
Thank you, everyone.